The opulent walls of Hogwarts Library whispered secrets as Harry, Ron, and Hermione huddled around a dusty old tome. Hermione's finger traced the ancient text of Mosta Potente Potions, her eyes gleaming with a daring plan. "If we can brew the Polyjuice potion, we can find out if Malfoy is behind the attacks," she whispered. Ron looked skeptical, but the recent petrifications left them no choice. Just as they agreed, the shadow of the stern librarian, Madame Pince, loomed nearby. "What are you three up to?" she questioned sharply. They held their breaths, hoping their furtive mission hadn't been discovered. Under the cloak of night, Harry and his friends navigated the dimly lit corridors of the castle. The full moon cast eerie shadows as they approached the potion master's storeroom. "Are you sure about this?" Ron whispered, his voice barely audible. Harry nodded, pulling out a shimmering cloak of invisibility. As they slipped beneath it, footsteps echoed in the distance. The tension mounted when a cat with lamp-like eyes crossed their path, and they realized Filch, the caretaker, might be nearby. Heart-pounding, Hermione deftly picked the lock, and they slipped inside to collect the forbidden ingredients. Just as they were about to make their escape, the sound of a door creaking open sent shivers down their spines. Safely back in the abandoned girls' bathroom haunted by a melancholic ghost, the trio set up their makeshift laboratory. Hermione carefully measured out the stolen ingredients, her precise movements betraying her nervous excitement. The ghostly girl watched them with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. "Brewing something special?" she asked enigmatically. As the potion began to simmer, thick fumes filled the room, and the liquid swirled with a mesmerizing color. "It's working," Harry said, unable to hide his awe. But just then, an ominous gurgling sound came from the cauldron, and the potion's hue darkened unexpectedly. "That's not supposed to happen," Hermione gasped as the room started to shake, leaving them wondering if they had made a terrible mistake. In the midst of a bustling Hogwarts afternoon, Harry Potter stumbled upon a tattered old diary lying unnoticed in a puddle near Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. The name T.M. Riddle was embossed on its faded black cover. Intrigued by the mysterious artifact, Harry tucked it under his arm, sensing an unexplained connection. That evening, nestled in the cozy warmth of the Gryffindor common room, he examined the diary under the flickering light of the fireplace. To his surprise, the pages were blank. On a whim, he dipped his quill and wrote a simple greeting. The ink vanished, replaced by elegant script responding to him. Astonished, Harry realized the diary could communicate. Excitement mingled with unease as he shared his discovery with Hermione and Ron. Hermione's eyes shone with curiosity, but Ron cautioned against trusting enchanted objects. Undeterred, Harry felt compelled to uncover the secrets hidden within the diary's pages, unaware of the shadows they would cast on his present. Unable to resist the diary's allure, Harry immersed himself in its mysterious dialogue. One night, as he held the diary, ink seeped from the pages, swirling around him in a vortex of memories. Suddenly, he found himself standing in a sepia-toned Hogwarts of the past. Invisible to those around him, he witnessed the school as it was 50 years ago. Students in vintage robes hurried through the halls, oblivious to his presence. Harry's gaze fixed on a charismatic, dark-haired student with a confident stride, the young Tom Riddle. He followed as Riddle navigated secret corridors, eventually leading to a tense encounter. Harry watched in silent horror as Riddle accused a gentle giant of a student of unleashing a monster from the Chamber of Secrets. The scene faded, and Harry was thrust back into the present, heart pounding. The revelation that the diary could transport him into the past, and that someone he trusted might be implicated in dark deeds, left him reeling. Questions swarmed his mind. What truly happened all those years ago? And what did it mean for the danger now lurking within Hogwarts? The weight of what he had witnessed pressed heavily on Harry. Confiding in Ron and Hermione, he recounted the vivid journey into the past. Hermione's brow furrowed with concern, while Ron's eyes widened in disbelief. Together, they grappled with the possibility that someone they trusted could be connected to the Chamber's sinister history. Determined to seek the truth, the trio decided to visit the one person who might have answers. Under the cloak of night, they ventured through the silent castle, shadows stretching ominously along the walls. As they approached the edge of the forbidden forest, Whispers of leaves and distant hoots added to the eerie atmosphere. Before they could reach their destination, they were intercepted by alarming news. Another student had been petrified. The school's fear escalated, and suspicion began to cloud the eyes of fellow students, some casting wary glances at Harry himself. With tension mounting and time running out, Harry realized that the diary's secrets were more dangerous than he had imagined. The path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, and the true threat remained hidden in the depths of Hogwarts. The moon hung low over the forbidden forest, casting silvery beams through the dense canopy. Harry and Ron stood at the edge of the trees, the cool night air filled with the distant hooting of owls. "Are you sure about this?" Ron whispered, his eyes darting nervously among the shadows. Harry nodded, pointing to a trail of tiny, glittering spiders scuttling into the darkness. "Hagrid said to follow the spiders," he murmured. "It's our only clue." With hesitant steps, they ventured into the forest, the underbrush crunching softly beneath their feet. The trees seemed to close in around them, their twisted branches like skeletal arms reaching out. Every so often, a rustle in the leaves would make them pause, hearts pounding. As they delved deeper, the spiders grew larger, their numbers multiplying, leading the way like a silent procession. "Look at the size of them," Ron muttered, shuddering as a particularly large spider crawled over a fallen log. The path grew steeper, and the whispered breaths of the forest seemed to surround them. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught Harry's eye. "Did you see that?" he asked, straining to see through the gloom. But before Ron could answer, an eerie silence fell, and the forest held its breath. Emerging into a moonlit clearing, Harry and Ron found themselves surrounded by colossal webs glistening like silver nets in the pale light. The air was thick with the musty scent of earth and the subtle rustling of countless legs. From the darkness beyond, glowing eyes peered at them, hundreds of them. "Welcome," a deep, rasping voice echoed. A massive spider as big as a small elephant stepped forward, his many eyes reflecting the boys' frightened faces. "We have been expecting you." Ron gripped Harry's arm tightly, his knuckles white. "We didn't mean to intrude," Harry said, trying to keep his voice steady. "We're friends of Hagrid." At the mention of the name, a hushed murmur rippled through the assembled creatures. "Hagrid is known to us," the giant spider replied. "He is a friend, but you are not safe here." "Please," Harry implored, "we need to know what is attacking students at the school. Hagrid said you might have answers." There was a pause, and then the spider spoke. "The creature you seek is an ancient evil, one we do not name. It dwells deep beneath your school." His words hung heavy in the air. "Now you must leave, for my children are hungry." As the realization dawned on them, the circle of spiders began closing in, their legs weaving through the webs. "Run!" Harry shouted, pulling Ron as the spiders lunged forward. They darted back into the forest, branches whipping against their faces. The ground seemed to shift under their feet as more spiders poured out from every direction. The path they had entered by was now a seething mass of hairy legs and snapping pincers. "We're trapped!" Ron cried, his voice breaking. Just then, a pair of bright lights blazed through the trees, accompanied by a familiar rumble. "The car!" Harry exclaimed. The enchanted vehicle burst into the clearing, doors swinging open. Wasting no time, they leaped inside. The engine roared as the car sped off, crashing through underbrush. Behind them, the spiders gave chase, the ground trembling with their pursuit. Branches clawed at the windows as the car swerved and jolted. "Come on," Ron urged the car, gripping the steering wheel even though it moved on its own. The spiders were relentless, but gradually the distance grew. Bursting out of the forest, they left the horrors behind. The car slowed, depositing them on the edge of the grounds. As they stumbled out, breathless and shaken, Harry turned back toward the dark silhouette of the forest. "That was too close," he murmured. Ron looked pale. "Ancient evil beneath the school? What does that mean?" Harry met his gaze, the weight of the spider's revelation settling in. "I don't know," he admitted, "but we need to find out." Harry and Ron stood in the dimly lit girls' bathroom, the sound of dripping water echoing around them. The ghostly figure of moaning Myrtle hovered nearby, her translucent form shimmering in the flickering light. Clutching the tattered notebook that had revealed the secret, Harry approached the ancient sink with the tiny serpent etched into the metal tap. Taking a deep breath, he hissed in a strange, sibilant language. Suddenly, the sink began to tremble and move, revealing a dark, gaping hole leading deep beneath the school. A chill wind swept upward, carrying the scent of earth and secrets long buried. Exchanging resolute glances, the two friends knew there was no turning back. Together, they prepared to venture into the unknown, hoping to save Ginny before it was too late. Sliding down the endless, twisting tunnel, Harry and Ron landed with a thud in a damp, cavernous space. The air was cold and heavy, filled with the distant dripping of water. Raising their wands, soft light illuminated the rough stone walls glistening with moisture. As they ventured deeper, shadows danced ominously around them. The path was lined with strange, ancient markings, and the sense of foreboding grew with each step. Suddenly, they stumbled upon a massive, shed skin, the translucent remains of a serpent of unimaginable size. Ron's eyes widened in terror, but Harry's determination only hardened. From somewhere deep within the darkness ahead, a low, menacing hiss echoed, sending shivers down their spines. They knew the guardian of the chamber awaited them. At last, they reached a towering doorway adorned with intertwining serpents carved from stone. Speaking once more in the hissing language, the serpents parted, and the door creaked open to reveal a vast chamber. Towering pillars decorated with serpentine designs stretched into the darkness above. At the far end of the chamber lay Ginny, pale and motionless on the cold floor. Rushing to her side, Harry felt a presence behind him. Turning, he faced a young man with dark hair and piercing eyes, a shadowy figure with a smug smile. Realization dawned as the figure revealed sinister intentions, a memory brought to life. Without warning, a monstrous serpent began to uncoil around the pillars, its eyes gleaming like fiery orbs. As the creature's hiss filled the chamber, Harry braced himself for the perilous battle ahead, knowing the fate of his friend, and perhaps the entire school, hung in the balance. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the silent corridors of Hogwarts, Harry and Ron raced against time. Clutching a crumpled piece of parchment, they deciphered the cryptic clues that pointed to the entrance of the legendary Chamber of Secrets. With their friend Hermione petrified and the school under threat, they ventured into the dark depths beneath the castle. The walls whispered ancient secrets as they moved, torches flickering ominously. Just when despair threatened to overtake them, a shimmering outline of a door appeared on the cold stone wall, revealing a hidden passageway. The air grew colder, and an unearthly hiss echoed from deep within. Summoning every ounce of courage, they stepped forward, not knowing what awaited them in the darkness. Descending into the depths, they found themselves in a vast chamber filled with towering stone pillars, carved like entwined serpents. The air was thick with mystery and a sense of foreboding. At the far end stood a colossal statue of a sinister figure, its mouth agape in a silent scream. Suddenly, a chilling voice resonated around them, and from the shadows emerged Tom Riddle, a memory brought to life. He revealed secrets that shook them to their core, twisting truths and sowing doubt. As tension mounted, the chamber began to stir. The sound of scales slithering over stone signaled the awakening of an ancient horror. Harry and Ron braced themselves as darkness closed in, ready to face whatever terrors lay ahead. With a surge of defiance, Harry challenged the shadowy adversary, determined to save Ginny and end the madness. The chamber erupted into chaos as the ancient monster was unleashed, a colossal serpent with eyes like molten bronze. Blinded by its deadly gaze, Harry relied on instinct and the echoes of a mysterious song that filled the air. Out of nowhere, a radiant phoenix appeared, its melodic cries bolstering the boy's spirits. The magnificent bird delivered a gleaming sword, its hilt adorned with rubies, into Harry's hands. Seizing the weapon, he faced the beast in a desperate duel. In a climactic moment, he struck, and silence fell over the chamber. As the shadows receded, Harry and Ron knew they had turned the tide. But as they prepared to escape, the walls trembled. The chamber was collapsing, and time was running out.